Hey there guys, welcome back to the channel for another Warhammer 40,000 Imperium painting video. This time I am painting the Immortals from issue 25 of the Imperium magazine. So obviously to get started I have made up my glaze mix, I suppose you could call it, using 1 part Screaming Bell and 6 parts Lamian medium or contrast medium, whichever one you want to use, and then 2 drops of water, so 2 parts water if the mix is a little bit too thick still. And then as usual all I'm doing is going around the armour plates of the Immortal and filling in the sort of the bottom 2/3 of each of the armour panels. And by armour panels I mean anything that looks like an over panel and not bone. So if you look at his arm for example, on the lower part that I'm painting there, he has these 2 smaller pieces that look like bones coming out just between the forearm and the hand. So that would be bone, and the part of the forearm and the hand is what I class as armour plating. Now the Immortals, they do have an extra panel of plating on their thigh. They have thigh pads. I leave these off as I will be doing them a different colour. So essentially we're just doing the upper arms, the forearms, the sort of the lower part of the legs here that you can see me doing right now, perfect timing in the voiceover, and also the bottom part of his legs, the sort of the upper calf muscle that he's got there, and then like I said the rib cage as well. And then I will also do this for the barrels along the gun. Next up I will take some INCUBI Darkness and use this as my base colour on all of the heavier armour pieces, such as the shoulder pads, his face, and also his thigh pads in this instance, as well as the centrepiece in his chest. And for the weapon you can see what I'm doing right here, and that's painting basically the rest of the weapon, with exception to the blade, sort of that dagger thing on the front of it. So everything else on the weapon will get a coat of INCUBI Darkness in preparation for later on. Right, so next I'll take some ABADDON black and just go in and paint in all of the cables. So there are the 3 cables on the bottom here, but I only paint the bottom 2. The other one is one of the what I call the corrugated type cable, the textured cable, and those I tend to leave in silver with the non-oil wash in there. And then obviously there is the large thick cable with the 2 thinner ones that are attached to it and run with it, that go from the butt of his gun to the bottom of his spine. And then after that I will also paint in the blade at the front of the weapon there. Right, so once the black's done I'm now doing some on the brush wet blending. And I say on the brush because all the blending is done with the brush. I'm not too sure if I've shown this technique before, but it is very good for doing wet blending. And the way that it works is you use a nice absorbent brush, Kalinsky sable hair brushes, so watercolour brushes are some of the better ones to use, and you have a very thinned down black, almost water-like but not quite. You want to be able to slightly more than a glaze with it. What you then do is soak up some of that black with the brush and then dip the tip into a non-thinned white. And then as you can see, all I'm doing is starting from the point where I want my almost brightest white to be, and then just use a backwards and forwards motion, going almost over itself, slightly overlapping. And what happens as the white is removed from the tip, it will slowly, that black further up in the bristles will saturate down and mix with the white, give an almost grey mix that will fade out to the black. So I hope I've explained that well enough, but you can see here I've just mixed up a little bit more water into the black. Got a small amount, it's probably a little bit too much white paint on here if I'm honest, but a small amount of white on the end. Pick where I want the lighter piece to be, and then you can see I'm just going backwards and forwards. Now you can overlap this slightly, you can sort of go back in and touch it up, and obviously if you mess up just wipe it off quickly or go back over with black and try again. And then you can see fading it out and slowly it becomes black. And yeah, you just do this and work it up the brush. If you want a little you know, more of a white area and a little bit more of a grey fade, then just go back over that same area again and it will fade out and obviously stretch the white out a little bit more, and then fade off into that black. So there you go. Hopefully I've just explained on the brush wet blending enough for you. And you can see there I've gone all the way back over, as I thought that white was a bit too much in that area, and grade it down, and then I'll go back over it again with the white, and that'll give me the nicer fade. It does take a bit of practice, and you may have to give it 1 or 2 attempts to get the fade that you want, but totally worth it. And you can see I've done the same thing with the blade there, working with the white at the tip and then fading it back towards the where it attaches to the gun, and then we get a white to black fade. And then obviously I'm just using some pure white now for the center of his head, and also the Ankh design on his chest. I'll then thin this slightly and run it into the orbs on the barrel of the gun, and as you can see here I'm also painting the sort of the fusion coil section, or whatever that part is called, of the gun. And this is in preparation for the green that will go over it all later. Right, so once all of the white is done, I'm now going over it all with some Tesseract Glow. And this is a technical paint that goes really well over white. Obviously, you know, if you follow my videos, you've seen me use this plenty of times in the past. But all I do is paint this over all of the pipes, the cables and that, and this will give a nice black to bright green, almost yellow green. Oh, there goes the model. Almost yellow green fade across the pipe work. I'll also do the same thing on the blade and the coils, and also the orbs along the barrel of the gun. So the only place that doesn't get it is the white stripe down the center of his head. I want that to be the sort of the defining part of the Immortals, that they have this white stripe along the center there. So you can see now I'm just blobbing it in. What that will do is run down into that recess and leave the orbs themselves with that more yellowish tint to it. And then also the ribs, I did forget to mention it earlier. I will go back and do it. I hadn't done it yet. I will put white into the holes that make up the rib cage. I think there's about 4 on each side of him, and then once that's dried I will also go in with the Tesseract Glow there to give him an underglow coming from sort of within his chest. And there you go, you can see here where I've put the Tesseract Glow in his rib cage as well. So all I'm doing now is I've got a small amount of the Green Stuff World Colour Shift metal paint. This is the Psychotic Illusions that I've been using. It's sort of a blue to purple or blue to purpley red kind of shimmer effect, and I'm painting this over all of the INCUBI Darkness, And with the case of the coils on the weapon there, I went over them as well. To be honest, this doesn't show too well on the Tesseract Glow, so it doesn't matter too much if you get it on there. Obviously be careful to not do it if you can, but don't be worried if it goes on Tesseract Glow. White, it tends to leave a sort of reddish stain tint to it, so I would be careful getting it on white, and obviously the darker the colour, the more this is going to show up. This shows best on black, but I like having the INCUBI Darkness blue undertone to it, which obviously you wouldn't get with using pure black. And there we have it, guys, one completed Necron Immortal, ready for the battlefield. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Obviously nice quick one, painting these Necrons with this colour scheme, just for tabletop ready, nothing overly complicated. If there's anything you would like to see me paint up, if you have any ideas or anything like that that you guys would like to see, then be sure to let me know in the comments. Otherwise, if you have enjoyed the video, guys, hit that like button, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and also check the cards in the corner for links to the other videos for this week. But until next time, guys, take it easy and keep painting those minis.